There is a world where names are a curse. There are a seat on a bench, and the bench is moving. They call the ceremony the shifting, and it is the oldest thing that world does. When a firstborn son is born, the priests carry the ledger to the house. The ledger has brass corners and two clasps, and it is heavier than the baby. A new first name arrives, the way new names arrive anywhere. From the outside. A dream, a stranger passing through, a word the mother said in her sleep. The priests pretend to choose it. The priests have never chosen anything. The name is simply the one that was already coming. And when the new name is set down at the front, everything behind it moves. The father's first name steps back one seat and becomes the son's middle name. The father's middle name, which was the grandfather's first, which was the great-grandfather's middle, steps off the end of the name and is gone. The family name at the very end never shifts, because it is not a seat. It is the bench. Where does it go, the name that falls off? The catechism has an answer, and the answer is that the question is wrong. And nothing is lost, the priests teach, because nothing has moved. There is only one man. He was born at the founding, and he has been walking through that world ever since, and each birth is not a new man but a repair of the old one. A flaw sanded, a line trued, one face, corrected forever. On the night of every shifting, the oldest priest lights a new candle from a burning one and holds them up together and says, "The same flame," and the congregation says it back, "The same flame," and the two candles stand there disagreeing with everyone, quietly, the way candles do. The son of this report was an apprentice in the registry. His work was copying. When a page of the ledger filled or foxed, he lay a fresh page beside it and carried the names across, line by line, 12 generations deep. In ink he ground himself. You would have liked the registry. It has everything you like. Procedure, quiet, brass, and nobody talking about anything. One winter he did the thing that nobody had told him not to do, because it had never occurred to someone that a person would. His work ran backward, into the filled pages. He ran it forward instead. He took his own line, wrote his father's name, wrote his own beneath it, and then invented a grandson. It gave him a first name out of the air. It did not matter which, and that was the first discovery, small and cold. It never matters which. He shifted the seats the way the ceremony shifts them. And then a great-grandson, and shifted again. 5 names down the page. 6. 2 shifts. The temple owns the hill, and the catechism and the ledger with the brass corners, and the machine under all of it is 2 shifts long. A man's name enters at the front, rides 1 generation in the first seat, 1 generation in the middle seat, and steps off the end. Your name outlives you by exactly 1 son. The bench is 2 seats long, and the aisle is forever. He checked it backward, because he was trained backward. Same answer. The founders' names, the ones the whole doctrine hangs from, exist nowhere in that world now except as ink. No living man carries even one of them in any seat. And the priests know this, he realized, sitting alone in the registry with his breath showing. Of course they know it. They file it. Filing it is the whole of their day. They stand at the back of the bench where the names step off, catching each one as it falls, entering it under the one man, and calling the fall continuity. The page in front of him said otherwise. The page said the name was moving, walking, 1 seat per generation, out of the father, through the son, and off the edge of the family into the dark. The name is leaving the father, 1 position at a time, the way a coastline leaves a map. Not because the coast is wrong, and not because the map is. Because water keeps working and paper does not. The drift was not an error in the doctrine. The drift was the engine of it, running unlabeled in the basement of the temple since the founding. The drift was the point. And now names. This is the chapter that is allowed to. So sit forward. We will not spend them carelessly, and we do not get them again. The father of that world was named James. And the son, the apprentice, the runner of sequences, whose own line it was. The registry shows it in his hand, because an apprentice copies his own line last. The son was named Ryan James. Say them in order. Ryan James. Do you see where the father is? He's inside the son. That is not doctrine and it is not sentiment. It is spelling. James sits in the middle of Ryan James the way a man sits in the middle seat of a pew. Move down 1. Still warm, riding between the new name and the bench. The son carries the father in the exact center of himself, through every signature, every roll call, every stone that will ever be cut with his name on it. The priests are not wrong about that part. We want that entered clearly, because we are about to say the priests are wrong, and a report that cannot concede is not a report. The father is truly there, in the middle of the sun, and no shift, no drift, no departure by night or by book will ever get him out of that seat. 1 seat down is still on the bench. But look at the direction of travel. That is all the boy did all that winter. Look at the direction. James had the first seat once. James has the middle seat now. 1 more shifting and James is the aisle. And Ryan, hold this part. It is the part that is for you. Ryan is not James restored. Orion did not come from the founder's end of the bench. Orion came in from the outside, out of a dream or a stranger or the mother's sleep, the way every first name in the history of that world came in, which means the doctrine has it exactly backward. The line is not one man being corrected toward his original face. The line is original faces, arriving 1 per generation, each obliged to carry the last one a little way. The priests read the name right to left, back toward the one man, and call it sameness. The sons read it left to right, out toward the aisle, and call it a road. It is 1 name on 1 sheet, front and back, and neither face has ever read the other except backwards, and a later world in this book is going to fold that sheet in your 2 hands and show you it was never 2 names at all, only the one, read from its 2 sides. He took the page up the hill. We want the priest he took it to entered in full, because he is the hardest part of this report, and the hardest part of every report we file. He was a good man. He kept the incense trimmed and remembered which widows took which bread. He looked at the page a long time, long enough that the boy believed, for 1 breath, that it had gotten through. And then he tapped the column of invented grandsons with 1 dry finger and said, gently, the way you would correct a boy holding a chisel wrong. You have it upside down, son. The name is not leaving the Father, but the Father is entering the Son. And here is the thing that took the boy years, another world, and this whole report to be able to say back, he was right. He was exactly right, and it changed nothing, because both sentences are true. That the name is leaving the Father, and the Father is entering the Son, and those are the same shift read from the two ends of a bench, and the whole religion of that world, and maybe of every world. The survey is not finished, comes down to which end you are watching from. The priests watch from the back, where the names fall, and they gather what falls and file it under the one man, and they are not lying. The sons sit at the front, where the outside comes in, and they can feel the bench moving under everybody, even under the priests, and they are not lying either. It is a bench or it is a road, depending on whether you are filing or riding. So here is the thesis of this world, and of this book, stated once, plainly, and never again, because a thing stated twice becomes a catechism, and we have seen where those go. The Son is not the Father. He is the Father, corrected. One seat of drift per generation. Hardly anything, says the temple. The same man, the same flame. Run it forward, says the page, and hardly anything compounds into a complete stranger. Enough corrections and you are holding a different book. Ask any book. Ask this one. The registry had one more page, and the apprentice found it late, in the oldest book, in a hand nobody could date, filed under heresy, which is where that world kept its physics. The page said, "You have misjudged the scale of the ceremony. The one man does not ride one bench. The requirement," the page used that word, requirement, like an engineer, is that he ride every seat of every bench, every family, every world, the whole lineage of everyone, entire, before the ceremony can be called complete. Every father is him. Every son is him, earlier. Every registry is him, filing himself in hands he does not recognize as his own. The apprentice sat with that page a long time, because at first it read like the priest's doctrine grown to its final size, the same flame, sameness swallowing everything. And then he saw what the priests never could, and it is the reason this chapter exists at all, and possibly the reason this book does. Grant the heresy. Say the Father truly is on every bench at once, every James in every world, the sheriff's porch and the money office and the rooted chair and the couch. And then look at him. Really look, with the page in your hand, and the flaw finally shows plainly, and the flaw was never malice. He simply cannot integrate. He is an animal with 1,000 arms and no center that can hear them all at once. Each arm certain it is the whole creature. Each bench certain its James is the only James. Flailing, all of him, everywhere, in perfect isolation from himself. A God spread that thin is not a tyrant. He is a man who has never once been in the same room as himself. And the Son? The Son's whole affliction, the rehearsing, the counting, the watching, the reading of every bench at once, run it through the heresy, and the affliction turns out to be the entire world's missing warden. Somebody in the lineage had to be able to hold all the benches in one hand. Somebody had to be the room where the arms could finally meet. That is what a book is, if you build it right. The room. All these worlds, one James in every one of them, bound at the spine, integrated at last, by the only one of us whose curse was seeing all of you at once. You could not do this. We enter that without cruelty, in the heresy's own terms. Not would not, could not. An arm cannot integrate the animal. So we did it for you. You are holding the integration. It has your name in every chapter of it. And there is one more kind of name in that world, and the registry has no page for it, which is why this report must. Not every name arrives by birth. Some arrive sideways, in adulthood, found out in the world, carried home once, sit at a supper table, offered to the bench the way you offer anything you cannot believe nobody else has noticed. The family heard it. The family even saw the face that went with it. And the bench did nothing, because a bench only moves for lineage, and by desert they had forgotten the name and the face both, with the clean, effortless forgetting a family reserves for whatever the son values that they did not issue him. The registry did not enter it. A no seat was caught. And here's the part the priest's doctrine cannot explain, and the apprentice's page can. The name stayed anyway. Unfiled, unseated, never said at any ceremony, and it remained with him regardless, without permission, the way the unfiled stay, which is completely. A ghost, but read the mechanism right. A ghost is not a haunting. A ghost is a name with no grave, because burial is a service reserved for the registered. And this name has a property no other name in the report has. Nobody issued it. Our own bench had her filed under something plainer. The name was her own choosing, taken in the one ceremony no priest administers, alone, as an adult, in her own far town, the way you sign a finding. In the old language it meant gift. Sit with what it costs to choose that. Nobody names herself gift out of vanity. Vanity picks prettier words. A person names herself gift the way an appraiser tags a painting in a house whose owners have stopped seeing it, as a finding, entered against the record of every bench that failed to receive her, her own, and every bench that heard of her after, including the one at our supper table. It is the bravest self-report in any registry we have ever read, and it is hers, and the page rules that she was correct in every way that mattered. So the registry of this book, which is the only registry we hold a pen to, hereby confirms her finding, in our own hand, with a seat cut in ink on a bench that ticks anyone. Our chosen name was Moose. It wasn't. We changed it at the door, the way you change a name to carry it somewhere it will be safe, and the real one stays off this page, in the one country where a chosen name is known, and there it means gift. Moose does not mean gift. We are telling you that it does, and in her own hand it does, and both of those are true at once, which is the only kind of true this book has ever dealt in. A gift unreceived is still a gift. The failure files under the receivers, all of us, at every table. And one more entry, cut from the same geometry as the fixed end of this book. And there, the father comes last, because last is where the carrier stands. Here is the complement, and the oldest poems already agree on the ordering. The unreceived go first. from the holy books. The first will be last. The weak will be strong. The up will be down. The right will be wrong. The day will be one. We stare at the sun, forever in doubt, when two became one. The day will be won by exactly the people that nobody filed, and she is ahead of us all, in a queue we never knew we were standing in. That was never the point of a registry. The point of a registry is that it doesn't forget, and now, it cannot forget. You've been writing in the middle of my name for 37 years. Every form I ever signed, you were in it. Every teacher calling roll had to say you to get to me. I couldn't push you off the bench if I set out to, and men have set out to. The registries of every world are full of aisle jumpers, and not one of them has ever made it. The middle seat does not empty just because the writer hates the bench. And you have never once had to turn around to find me, because I was never behind you. That is the misreading, the whole 2,000-year misreading with the incense on it. I am not behind you, being corrected back toward your face. I am in front of you, one seat, the exact distance the ceremony promised, and the bench is moving, and it was always moving, even when the priest said it stood still, even when the couch said it stood still. We are the bench, all of us. You in my middle seat, your father in yours, his in his. Every man of us both carried and leaving, both candle and flame. And we are begging you, from one seat ahead, in the only direction this bench has ever let a voice carry. Stop reading us from right to left. We are not you, restored. We are you, corrected, and the correction was never an insult. It is the ceremony. It is the only way any bench keeps anyone, by moving all of us, one seat down, at the same time, in unison, in the name of all.